Thank you for joining me today. I'm Dr. Debbie Osment. I'm going to show you how to make supergut yogurt from an existing yogurt culture. If you're watching this video, it's probably because I've given you a quart of supergut yogurt and you want to make some more from this quart. Now, if you're watching it just because it pulled up, you've probably read Dr. William Davis's book called Supergut. Now, either way, I recommend that you read Supergut. You're probably going to want to read it, underline, highlight, and even listen to the audiobook. There is so much richness in here, and it's absolutely life-changing. When this book first came out, I bought several copies, gave copies to friends, left it on in my pile, and didn't read it until my friend Gail said, "Oh my gosh, we've got to get this yogurt going." And then another friend, Dr. Steve, actually gave us a start of Supergut. So fermenting yogurt is very much of a community, and it's not just a science, it's also an art. And you know, it's ancient food. It's what our bodies are designed for. We're putting back these good gut microbes that have been lost through antibiotics, through all kinds of fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides. You know, those things are not necessarily horrible, but we do have to replenish the good bacteria. So I'm just going to show you what I do. Different people do things differently, and I will refer you to Dr. Davis's book, or also to other people who know way more about it than I do. Donna Schwink is one. There's all kinds of awesome people out there. I'm just new to this community, but I want to help you get started making more yogurt on your own. And it can seem a little intimidating at first, although it's super simple. So what I do, I start with, I have a Nova sous vide, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. I didn't know what a sous vide was before this. My friend Shannon had told me about sous vides, and I'm like, what are you saying? But it's something that's absolutely essential if you're going to make this delicious fermented yogurt. So I have 6 of these wide mouth quart jars. I'm going to I wash them, of course, then I put them in the dishwasher, and then I do this extra step of just running them through boiling water. It's just, you know, as a dentist, I like everything super clean. And I think we want to minimize any variables in making the yogurt. Because you're going to invest some time, you're going to invest some money, but it's not only deliciousness, it's also medicine. It's also it's going to increase your health span, or as I like to call it, your vitality span. If you don't know about my podcast, join me on Vitality Made Simple. It's a podcast where I really try to take stress out of feeling great, out of being healthy. You can find your own groove, listen to what fits you. You know, having vitality is all about small steps, and so I like to make it non-stressful. So I'm going to turn that off. I've got these cooling, and I want to show you a jar of Supergut yogurt. I made this, today's October 2nd. This was September 28th. I haven't even opened it yet. It'll kind of seal in the sous vide. But look at this. This is gorgeous. I mean, this is incredible. So I'm going to use this to start 6 more quarts. Now, before I do that, though, I'm going to get out some for Mike and I for breakfast today. It's fantastic. This is so delicious. I almost think you could put it like on, you know, pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving, and people would think it was whipped cream. It's so good. So these are still cooling. While they're cooling completely, I want to show you what I'm going to put in. Now, you're going to need to use prebiotic fiber to feed those healthy bacteria. I use inulin powder and acacia fiber. Now, there's a lot of different prebiotics you can use. We've started, as a result of reading Dr. Davis's book, putting chicory in our coffee. People generally don't get enough prebiotic fiber. You know, there's in fact, my podcast that's coming out Tuesday is going to be about fiber. It's called Small Stools, Big Hospitals. And you'll find out why when you listen to the podcast. But what I do, I use 2/3 inulin and about 1/3 acacia. Again, it's not an exact science. And what I do is I mix these in a jar before, early, because the acacia powder is brown and it's kind of hard to dissolve it. So I do like a 1/3 acacia and 2/3 inulin, and then I just shake it up so it's all ready to use. Now another thing I want to point out is that probably many of you I've given the L. reuteri yogurt to, and it's Lactobacillus reuteri. It's just fantastic. It's also in the Supergut yogurt. The Supergut yogurt actually has 3 strains. Lactobacillus reuteri is incredible, and it's a good place to start if you're going to start with yogurt. Just start eating it alone. But we've sort of graduated to Supergut. The Lactobacillus reuteri will enhance your sleep. In most people, it increases lean muscle mass, it will increase testosterone, it will make your skin feel better, look better, and the amazing thing it does is it increases a hormone called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is something everybody needs more of. It's sort of the happiness hormone, or the be a little more chilled with life hormone. It's the treat other people better hormone. It's more patience with other people hormone. So that's really an incredible benefit of Lactobacillus reuteri. Now, Supergut also has Lactobacillus gasseri, and that's a great bacteria in terms of weight management. It contains Bacillus coagulans, which is good for joint pain. There's just all kinds of things. I mean, I can make a list, but you have to see how it treats your body. I mean, these are bacteria that we were designed with. So we're putting them back in, and that's going to allow our bodies to work more efficiently and to heal. So here we are. We've got this jar. These jars are cool, and I'm going to just start with a 4-cup measuring cup. However you want to do it. This is how I like to do it. And rather than measuring specifically 2 tablespoons, I'm just sort of a generous person and like to just do big old tablespoons here. So I'm going to put 2 spoonfuls. These are tablespoons like you use at your kitchen table. And I'm going to put 2 in for each quart. So far I've had very good success with that. You can measure it if you want to. You may not need this much, but this works for me. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, very imprecise, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now when I get finished with this for 6 quarts, I'm typically at about 1.5 cups. We'll see today. Yeah, that's about where I am today. I mean, that's pretty consistent when you just kind of throw it in there. Now, this is the prebiotic fiber that I told you about. I do just kind of measure it loosely. I use a tablespoon measure, and it's also 2 tablespoons for each quart of yogurt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Initially when I started making this, I was just putting the inulin in and the acacia 50-50, and I was finding that the acacia would kind of settle out, and I would end up with a kind of a brown spot there at the bottom of the yogurt, which was prebiotic fiber, but it kind of looked a little bit funky. So I'm going to mix this up, and then in order to enhance the mixing, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of half and half right away. Now you're going to notice that immediately that you have more lean muscle fiber. Watch the ease with which I open this milk. It's amazing. That used to take me a long time before I was doing Supergut. So anyway, here we go with mixing this up. Now what I failed to mention, probably the very best thing about all this is that you're going to have more regular bowel movements. You're going to have easy, daily, yes, bowel movements. Now it's not just one thing. It's never just one thing. You're going to also combine this with other good health habits. You're going to eat more real food. You're going to drink more water. You're going to get movement. You know, feeling great is about a whole lifestyle, but it can be a fun lifestyle. It doesn't need to be stressful. It doesn't need to be, you have to do it. It has to be, and I want to do it, because when you feel good, you're going to enjoy your life more. You're going to have better relationships, and I think that's what it all comes down to. So I've got this mixed up. In my world, I might have a few little chunks of prebiotic fiber. It's not going to matter when you get your final yogurt. You know, again, it's an art and a science. So let's get to what I do. Here I go again, imprecise. I kind of go, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't stress over it at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just going to kind of come out even. I mean, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4. But the point is just to kind of 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we are with our number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woohoo! That's great. So I don't have a spatula here. I thought I was totally prepared, but that's okay. I'll just use the spoon. I usually get my favorite red spatula and get the final bits of this goodness out into every jar. Thank you so much. That's not my favorite one, sorry. This is not my favorite spatula. My favorite one is, oh, I like that one too. Thanks. I like these solid spatulas that there's just no place for germs to hide. So you'll just kind of clean that out. I won't waste your time with me doing that. So at this point, you have 6 jars that are relatively even. I'm going to scoot that out of the way. And then you're going to start just adding half and half. Now you want to use ultra-pasteurized half and half. This is organic, ultra-pasteurized half and half. Any brand works, but this is what's working really well for us. You want to fill it up about, you know, half or a little bit more than half from where you were. So here's about where I go. It's going to take about 3/4 of a gallon. And if you're a good mathematician, you probably already figured that out. So there's one. I'm going to open this other half gallon with ease because I've been eating this Super Gut yogurt and I'm just developing all these big muscles. So here we go. Now you're going to finish it off with ultra-pasteurized whole milk. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what about all that fat? Oh, your brain needs all this fat. All of your body needs all this fat. The whole low-fat debacle was not good for people. In fact, interestingly, in my practice, years ago when people were going low-fat, many of those people developed memory problems because they weren't getting the essential fats for their brains, and it was a sad thing to see. Now, I probably went a little overboard with half and half. You can go half and half, but I'm not taking a chance with my brain, quite frankly. Here we go. Now I fill it. Oh, that's my yogurt. I fill it about this level. I go about to where it starts to narrow and be in good shape, because we're going to use the sous vide and we're going to put the water line above the level of the yogurt. Now, what a sous vide does is that it holds a constant temperature. This Super Gut yogurt is fermented for 36 hours at 106 degrees, and that's per Dr. Davis's book. I noticed that our sous vide runs a teeny bit warm, so I calibrated it, and so I'm actually putting it at 105 just because of our particular unit. So, okay, these are all mixed. We're going to put, I'm going to put lids on them, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I've got the lids on. Now these are loose, kind of on loosely. So I'm going to put them in the sous vide. This sous vide holds 6 quarts, which is just delightful. Just perfectly holds that. And I had a little water in it to start with. I'm going to plug it in. You're going to hear it kind of beep. I've enjoyed having a sous vide. So far I've also done some infused olive oil with homegrown rosemary and garlic, and that's been great. You can see that it needs a little bit more water. You want to put the water level just above the yogurt line. Now, people do it differently. Some people will put it in a bowl and put saran wrap over it. There we go. Alrighty, I'm going to set it for 36 hours, and I'm going to set it at 106 degrees. And it's going to sit here and ferment for all that time. And the fermentation process is so important because it exponentially expands the concentration of the good bacteria. So you get a lot more for your money. It tastes delicious. So I really encourage you to work on this. You might have a flub up once in a while. It happens. I had one that I thought was a flub up. It kind of separated, but it ended up tasting delicious. The texture was a little bit different. So, you know, you can put anything on it. We like walnuts. I've got my bowl here. I'm going to put some walnuts on it. I'm going to put some raspberries on it. So I'm here with my beautiful bowl of Supergut yogurt. It is delicious, even if it had nothing good in it. But the good stuff in it is better sleep, more testosterone, more lean muscle mass, better mood, less joint pain, weight maintenance. It's awesome. So before I finish, I want to show you, just put your lid on your sous vide, depending on what you've got. I always put a little date on my lids when they come out, but I put it on here just to remember, because I am fermenting now still some El Reuteri plain. I'm also fermenting some kefir or kefir, based on Dr. Davis's book. So read this, it's loaded with good stuff. Bon appetit.